It means you'll have more opportunities to enjoy the great outdoors. That's the good news. But doctors are warning millions of Americans to be on the lookout for these little critters, ticks. They can carry diseases like Lyme disease, and activity is expected to be high from Michigan to Maine. Some of those same areas should be concerned about another disease called Powassan. You're going to be hearing a lot about that word. I don't even know if I pronounced it right. Dr. John Torres is an NBC News medical correspondent. Is that how we say it, Dr. Torres?
Close, yeah.
Okay. We think this is going to be a particularly bad tick season. Why?
They think it's going to be the worst tick season ever. And for most people, ticks on the growth scale are about 8 out of 10. I mean, there's not much grosser. If you've ever had a child, you've had to take it off of, you're trying to stay cool, take it off your kid. But this year, they think it's going to be worse for a few reasons. Number one, last year, there's an explosion of the white-footed mouse population. Deer ticks love that mouse. So more mice, more deer ticks. On top of that, the ticks are moving further west, getting into our areas, and we're starting to get into their areas. And the third thing is we've had warmer winters and warmer summers, so they're living longer.
So it's tick-palooza out there.
It is tick-palooza.
All right, Lyme disease we know to be concerned about. What is this Powassan?
So to start with Lyme disease, there's around 30,000 cases every year.
Yeah.
April to July is the prime period, so we're right in the midst of that right now. The Powassan virus is a new one. It's not a new virus, but it's one people are starting to hear about. It has a lot more serious consequences. It started to move into the deer tick population as well, so...
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. One of the things that doesn't get discussed enough is biological warfare, the silent war. That includes things like chemtrails. But really, one of the things that you never hear a lot about is Plum Island. I used to have a bunch of videos on my original channel before YouTube deleted it, discussing Operation Paperclip and how Plum Island was used. Nazi scientists went over there and they experimented with mosquitoes, with ticks, with other animals, and transferring diseases into the animals and then sending the animals or the insects out into the open. And that's really where Lyme disease came from, was from Plum Island. Now, you've probably seen videos of weird animals and disgusting looking animals washing up on shore. Pictures like this where it looks like some type of mutated animal. These are all results of Plum Island. This is the stuff that our government does that nobody talks about. And here at this specific location, which is now closed, wink, wink, just like they said HARP was closed. They always tell you these places are closed. In reality, they opened up another animal research center, Plum Island, in middle America. But I always believe that these places just remain open. Nobody would know if they were or they weren't. They could send people in and out and just say, oh, they're in there cleaning or doing something, and nobody would say boo, because nobody cares. Everybody's too distracted. But this is where they've created diseases such as Lyme disease. And now we're hearing of this outbreak of a new disease, which is spreading across New Jersey and the East Coast. What a coincidence, right? That is known as Powassan disease, which is just another type of deadly disease that just, I guess, appeared out of nowhere, right? Nobody says anything. These diseases just pop up. People blame it on God, right? Oh, this disease came. Why would God do this? Where do you think these diseases come from? What do you think these scientists do? What do you think they do all day? These government scientists. It's a joke. Just like Operation Paperclip was a joke, the fact that we even allowed Plum Island to exist is a complete joke. It says the deadly new exotic tick that could carry a host of rare diseases has invaded New Jersey. The pests known as East Asian or longhorned ticks were first discovered in the state last fall and have now been found in another county, according to scientists at Rutgers. The blood-sucking spider-like bugs are typically found in grassy areas and can transmit a variety of dangerous viruses such as Lyme disease. Experts have warned that the tick will likely spread rapidly in other parts of the U.S., especially as summer brings tick season. The newest tick to arrive in the U.S. has already migrated great distances from its origins in Asia to Australia and New Zealand, and now to New Jersey, according to a professor of parasitology, which apparently is a thing, at the University of Pennsylvania. I would be surprised if it does not spread out of New Jersey quickly. Every year, ticks start to emerge in May, June, and July, bringing with them an increased risk of tick-borne diseases. The chief concern with the longhorn ticks is that they have been known to spread a deadly virus called severe fever, also known as SFTS. SFTS has never before been reported in North America, but the longhorn tick could change that. STFS causes severe fever and low blood platelet counts that can be fatal. Symptoms include fatigue, chills, headache, nausea, muscle pain, diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. It's too early to tell which North American diseases the tick can transmit, but in Asia, it's been shown to spread diseases related to Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Quote, it's got a pretty terrible track record in China, Japan, and recently in New Zealand and Australia. He added that it could also be able to transmit Lyme disease, a tick-borne illness that, if untreated, can wreak havoc on the nervous system, causing numbness and memory problems. I mean, it's just unbelievable how they continue to get away with doing this to us. And people just think this is some natural thing. What do you think? The tick went and it drank some water that had diarrhea in it, and suddenly it just created this disease inside itself. Then it went and had sex with itself and had kids, and suddenly it had more ticks with the disease, and it just spread and spread and spread and spread like that. Don't people realize that these insects that bite you and suck into your blood, that they transmit these diseases into people, that these diseases are transmitted into the ticks, that these are the experiments that they do at Plum Island and other research centers that we're supposed to believe are for science purposes? It's a complete joke that they get away with this stuff, especially this day and age. But I guess it shouldn't be surprising, since everybody's looking in the wrong direction for what the real problems are in the world. Everybody thinks, oh, we're talking about Donald Trump and the left-right paradigm and all of this nonsense. Meanwhile, new diseases are popping up that nobody can seem to explain. You know, it says this new to America tick comes with some pretty scary properties. For one thing, the females can reproduce on their own. So one female by herself could produce thousands of eggs. It means for the little invaders to migrate and get a toehold here would take just one female hitching a ride on a traveler or traveler's pet coming from Asia, Australia, or New Zealand. Another rather special trait, these ticks don't seem to care what they bite. Unlike deer ticks that in the nymph stage prefer a certain kind of mouse to feed on, Asian tick nymphs will feast on any little critter that crosses their paths. The same is true of the adult, so it doesn't matter whether the adult tick latches onto a deer, a cow, a sheep, or a human. Making the tick even more unwelcome is its ability to carry and spread a host of diseases. And I've read some of those diseases already, including this new disease that's here. That, the woman can't even, it's amazing to me. I mean, people how do you not question stuff like this and just go, how does the disease form? Let's backtrack this all the way to the root, right? A tick just suddenly gets this disease. How? And people wouldn't think, oh, these doctors would put these diseases and stuff like this inside of these insects, like mosquitoes, like, West Nile and all this stuff that we have that can go and bite somebody and poison them. Nope. Instead, we're just supposed to believe this is natural occurrence. I mean, it's unreal. I'm going to play a clip which gives you just a little intel on Plum Island for those who aren't aware of what it is. I have videos on Plum Island. I don't know if they're on this channel. I know many were deleted from my old channel. But be aware of biological warfare and the silent war, because it's going on. They're attacking us every way possible. Just nobody knows the attacks are going on, right? People are, like I always say, they're expecting someone to show up at your door, a military tank with machine guns, and to shoot you and force you to take the microchip and throw you in a FEMA camp. Why would they do that when they can do this to all of us? And then for those of us who question it, we get laughed at and ridiculed for thinking that there'd be scientists and our government would do this to us. They can get away with this easier. They get people on board with, it's not, it's an act of God that Lyme disease is out there. And all of a sudden now, this summer, it's just a massive uptake out of nowhere. Oh, what happened? Oh, because it was a cold winter, they said, huh? Or then the winter expanded into April around the country, huh? Oh, that makes perfect sense. Great. And now all of a sudden this new disease from Asia is here? Sure, absolutely. Give me a break.
Эти неопознанные летательные объекты имеют вид не просто шаров или светящихся каких-то туманных областей, а довольно четкий техногенный вид.
Американцев всегда интересовало техномагическое наследие Германии. В этом никакого сомнения быть не может.
И вдруг происходит нечто необъяснимое. Экспедиция, рассчитанная на полгода, уже через 2 месяца спешно сворачивается и покидает берега Антарктиды. Это настоящее бегство.
I was a research scientist at the Plum Island Animal Disease of the bioweapons program. We engineered human embryos and tested their resistance towards the enhanced diseases we created. The security conditions at the laboratory were not the best, and there were numerous incidents of disease spreading to nearby communities, and we were responsible for all the cover-ups. The people have a right to know, and I have a responsibility to tell them what went on there. Dr. Traub's initial research at Plum Island focused on the tick and their ability to spread disease to the enemy. Our team continued his research through the 60s and 70s. In 1975, a town called Lyme, Connecticut began to experience several cases of an as-yet unknown infectious disease. The symptoms mimicked a variety of illness and a cause was difficult to ascertain. This disease is now known as Lyme disease, and it was the result of nearly 2 decades of our research at Plum Island. We released ticks infected with the pathogens to test out our biological warfare agent and study its effects on a population. The initial fatalities brought attention to the outbreak, and it led investigators in the medical community to isolate the cause of the disease by 1981. They later devised treatments for the infection. A research doctor from the World Health Organization was suspicious of the sudden appearance of a previously unknown disease and began to question our activities at Plum Island. This man's name was Dr. Herman von Buchholz, and his disappearance went unnoticed by the media. We could not risk having our biowarfare program exposed. Eventually, the warfare research facilities at Plum Island were shut down, and we were